What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks. Today I'm going to be bringing you part 2 in my PvP Beginner's Guide video series here. Quick note before we get started here, make sure you check out part 1 in this video series, which covers all of the knowledge required to really hit the ground running and get involved into PvP. There's a lot to cover in PvP, so I'm only making these 2 videos kind of as a very easy beginner's guide to those of you who are wanting to get involved with PvP. And everyone should want to get involved with PvP. It's a lot of fun. So most of you that watch my channel, again, are advanced players, so make sure to share this with your community. Let's try to grow the PvP scene and get a lot more people involved. So this second video is going to be talking about a lot of the gameplay mechanics that take place when you are in a battle with someone. So I'm going to kind of let this first clip roll here in just a little bit here. So as you know, in raids and in battles, you have fast moves and you have charge moves. So you do your fast moves by just simply tapping on the screen, and what this does is it builds up energy for you to get to your charge moves. Each charge move has a different energy cost, and each fast move has a different amount of energy that it generates when you're actually using the fast move. When you are battling, there's a couple things within the screen that you should take note of. So here at the bottom of the screen, let me back this up a little bit. At the bottom of the screen, in the bottom right hand corner, you have what is the switch button. Now, unlike in raids and in gym battles, this switch button, you have a 60-second timer on when you can switch again. So if you do opt to switch out, you click this button down here. And let's see if I let this play a little bit. When you click the button, that menu pops up and reveals your other 2 Pokemon that you have selected in your line of 3. Again, unlike raids and unlike gym battles, when you are PvPing, you can only bring in 3 Pokemon at once. So by clicking that switch button down there, this brings up your other 2 Pokemon, and from there you could click one of the Pokemon to switch in. In this particular example, I actually click out of the switch screen, so I just tap in. I'm continuing to tap in the middle of the screen, and I actually clicked the X button on the switch menu there. So after I throw this charge move right here, you can actually see I do click the switch screen, and I actually switch in my Alolan Marowak here. So now after this charge move goes through, take a look at the bottom right hand of the screen again. This switch clock is now dimmed out, and what's happening is a 60-second timer has started. So this little timer, you can see the longer that the battle goes, it's actually moving, and this 60 seconds is starting. Now, the 60 seconds is also included, like while charge moves are being thrown, that timer is still going. So even when you're waiting for your opponent to build up their charge move, or while you are charging your charge move, this is still all affecting the switch clock. One more thing that's worth mentioning in regards to the switch clock timer is after your Pokemon has fainted, you typically want to wait as long as possible to bring in your next Pokemon. There's going to be a little countdown that occurs at the top of the screen after one of your Pokemon faints. You want to wait this out till around like 1 or 2 seconds left, and the reason being is because you want your switch clock timer to reset as much as possible. If you instantly bring in a Pokemon after you have switched and that Pokemon has fainted, it is highly likely that you're going to be stuck in an unfortunate matchup after that Pokemon you just brought in faints their other Pokemon. So this is why you will see this all the time in my videos and a lot of other great battlers videos, is we tend to wait out that switch timer to allow us a little bit more flexibility so we don't get switch locked into an unfortunate matchup. Now, we talked a little bit about how we have fast moves and we have charge moves. One thing I want you to take note of, and this is kind of my personal opinion, but when I tap to do my fast moves, you can see that I generally tap around this middle area of the screen. And the reason for this is I want to have complete control of when I want to choose to do my charge move. Again, when you're in raids and in gym battles, oftentimes you're probably just spamming your phone as quickly as possible to try to throw those charge moves off to get as much damage as possible. In PvP, there's a little bit more finesse with your tapping involved. So in this particular scenario, I am over farming energy on this Blaziken, and I don't want to throw my charge move right when I have built up enough energy for it. Instead, I was just tapping in the middle of my screen. You can see I'm tapping in the middle here. I know the Blaziken is going to throw a charge move, and then I'm going to opt to throw my charge move after I've over-farmed a little bit. So I highly recommend that you tap more in the middle of your screen, because what I've also seen happen sometimes is people, especially beginners, will accidentally throw, or they'll accidentally tap their charge move when they didn't intend to. If you are tapping kind of near those two charge moves at the bottom, it is more likely that you might accidentally click one of those buttons. So be very wary of that. Let's kind of get into some of these fast moves and charge moves. So we have different fast moves in Pokemon Go. Some fast moves are much better for energy generation. Some fast moves are much better for just raw damage. One thing you need to know about fast moves is that it's all measured in what we call turns. Now each turn is half a second long. So we have 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn, and 4 turn fast moves. So the 1 turn fast moves, which I believe we will see here in the beginning. Let me let this play. Yeah, so here's a Blastoise using Water Gun. This is a 1 turn fast move, and as you can see, it's occurring every half a second there. Here's a Vespiquen using Bug Bite. This is another 1 turn fast move. Doing a lot of damage to that Sneasel too. Here's a Melmetal using a 2 turn fast move, Thunder Shock. This is a great fast move for energy generation. Here's Vigoroth using a 2 turn fast move of Counter. You can kind of see how the animation is slower. Here's a Gastrodon using a 3 turn fast move of Mud Slap, even slower. Here's a Cloyster using Ice Shard. This is, again, a 3 turn fast move. Here's a Bronzong using a 4 turn fast move, so much slower here. And here's an Alolan Raichu using Volt Switch, which is a 4 turn fast move as well. So you can see within that we have different duration of fast moves. So even though you may be sitting there and mashing your phone super fast, mashing your screen there, the game is only going to register as fast as those fast moves occur. So that is something to take note of for sure. Now let's talk a little bit about charge moves. As we know, again, we have different fast moves. We have different types of charge moves. These vary in energy costs as well. And each charge move in PvP, again, unlike raids, each charge move is going to require a different animation for you to complete on your phone to execute this charge move. We also have different levels of executing the charge move. So you can see my Alolan Marowak, I'm throwing a Bone Club here. We have nice, great, and excellent. So 3 different tiers of how much damage your charge move is going to do. In almost all scenarios, you're going to want to aim for that excellent. So you're going to want to hit every single bubble to maximize the amount of damage. And I say almost all scenarios because in probably my intermediate or advanced guide, I'll talk about undercharging a little bit. But let's take a look at some of these charge moves. Each typing has a different animation. So this is a ground type animation. Hit the excellent there. This is a flying type animation. This animation is kind of brutal because if you miss 1 bubble, you won't get the excellent. This is a normal type charge move animation. This is a rock charge move animation on my Probopass here. Then we have a steel charge move animation, again on Probopass. Here's Mewtwo using Ice Beam, so this is an ice charge move animation. You can kind of see how there's different spawn points with this. This is the fighting type charge move animation. This is another very difficult one because if you miss 1 bubble, you miss the excellent. Here's the psychic type charge move animation. And here's a Qwilfish that's going to do the water type charge move animation. So you can see lots of different spawn points here. Here's the poison type charge move animation. I tend to opt to just do circles on that one. Here is the bug charge move animation here. So you can see just within that example, I know I left some out, but these charge moves spawn in different areas, and some of them have a little bit more leeway on whether or not you miss a bubble, but in general, you're going to want to shoot for that excellent, try to hit all the bubbles. One thing we should mention as well is that in PvP you have 2 shields to use. Now what these shields are going to do is whenever your opponent throws a charge move, you have the option to either shield or let the move go through. So after I throw this sky attack here, you'll see this Blaziken is going to throw a charge move. I throw my charge move, I'm going to switch into a Alolan Marowak here, and you can see when I threw that sky attack, my opponent opted to shield the sky attack, which is a smart play because it would do a lot of damage to Blaziken. But it looks like that little pinkish purplish shield comes up, and this allows only 1 HP of damage to go through as opposed to the full amount from that charge move going through. Now on the opposite side, this is what it looks like when your opponent is throwing a charge move. Let me get to that again. So my option comes up here. You can see I have 2 shields because this is in the beginning of the match. And what I actually do is I opt to click the Not Now option down there. And this allows that shield menu to drop back down. And so I'm going to let this charge move go through. But I believe in this clip we keep playing it out a little bit, and next time the Blaziken is going to throw a charge move, I do opt to shield it this time. So up comes that menu. I'm going to click the shield this time, and you can see now I have used my shield and I absorb all that damage. Even though it looks like no damage goes through, 1 HP technically still goes through. So there are very, very few scenarios where sometimes you just have a sliver of health left and you shield something, but then you'll still faint afterwards. You might have never encountered this before. I have very rarely encountered this, but that's just because even when you shield, the charge move still does 1 HP of damage. So that is something to take note of. Because you only have 2 shields, you're really going to want to make sure that you use these shields if you know that you're going to be getting hit with a super effective attack or attack that's going to do a lot of damage. This is where all of that knowledge comes into play. So make sure you check out part 1 of this video series because that's really where I talk about the knowledge required to make all these gameplay decisions. Something else that's worth noting is that each match lasts for 5 minutes. There's a 5-minute timer, and you really don't see this until you start getting to like the last 20 seconds or so of the match. It's pretty rare that you'll actually time out in a match, but there definitely have been, especially some Go Battle League battles I've had where someone is running like a Suicune or something, or like a Blissey or Snorlax that is just there to outrun the clock. So you will see that at some point, but it's worth noting that each match has a 5-minute battle timer as well. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see from a lot of beginners when they're getting involved into PvP is missing out on a lot of opportunities to get more fast moves in. And now what I mean, when you start a match, you have this screen right here. So the battle has not started. So the battle timer counts down. Now you can start tapping to get your energy. All of the downtime before that, any tap you do on your screen isn't going to register as energy. However, right there you saw my opponent switch out, and sometimes what I see happen is you'll stop tapping on your screen because you think that since your opponent is doing a switch animation that they are not currently getting fast moves. What you need to be doing, even when your opponent switches out, so they're going to switch out right here, keep tapping your screen, keep tapping your screen. And even though I clicked that switch button down there to bring up my switch menu, you can see I'm still tapping up here. I had 1 tap go down here to my switch menu, and I continued to tap in the middle because you don't want to miss out on any opportunities to get your fast moves in. Right now, I brought up my switch menu again, And even when you are switching, you should still be trying to tap that middle of the screen to make sure you're getting your fast moves in. During the switch animations, damage is still being dealt. Your opponent is actually still throwing fast moves on the Pokemon that they just switched in, and it's very crucial that you are tapping as well to get that damage in. This also occurs after you have fainted one of their Pokemon. You should still be sitting there tapping the screen, even though it's not technically registering your fast moves. The second that they bring in that next Pokemon, you want to make sure that you are there ready to go. So continuously tap your screen so you don't miss out on any opportunities to get a fast move in there. Very important. One of the final concepts I want to cover in this video is what's called charge move priority. We call this CMP a lot. And what this means is that when you are battling and two Pokemon go to throw a charge move at the exact same time, whichever Pokemon has the higher attack stat, that is going to be the one that gets to throw their charge move first. So I'm not going to talk too much about PvP IVs in this video. That'll probably be in my intermediate guide. But typically with PvP IVs, you want a low attack IV and then a high defense and HP IV. And the reason being is that the actual attack IV is more heavily factored in to your Pokemon's overall CP. So if they have a high attack, you won't be able to get their overall level as high, which means that their defense and HP won't be as good, and that Pokemon is actually going to perform a lot worse in PvP. Specifically with the Great League and the Ultra League, those leagues where we have a CP cap. In Masters League, always go for the hundo to maximize those stats. But in terms of CMP, so we know that whichever Pokemon has the higher attack is going to win out that matchup. And this is very clear in what we call mirror matches, where we have the same Pokemon going against one another. So these battles are against my wife, Katie. We're just showcasing this CMP mechanic. So let me rewind this a little bit. It's very important to note the CP differences in our Azumarill here. So my Azumarill is actually an 100% Azumarill, so 15 attack, 15 defense, and 15 HP. That allows my Azumarill to get up to 1497 CP. Her Azumarill is at 1500 CP, and hers is very optimized for PvP. I believe it only has like 8 attack, and then it's maxed out in defense and HP, so it's very optimized for PvP. So because I have the higher attack stat, you're going to notice every time we go to throw a charge move here, it's going to allow me to throw my Play Rough before she is able to throw her Play Rough. We are both tapping the Play Rough at the exact same time. There was a little visual glitch there. You saw it did no damage. She actually did click the shield, but that is something you will sometimes see in battles as well. Sometimes the shield doesn't display, but it was still there and you saw that she took no damage. Again, we get to the Play Rough at the exact same time. We click it at the exact same time, and it allows me to throw mine first because my Azumarill has 15 attack versus hers only has like 7 or 8. I can't remember the specific IV, but so you can see I'm winning all of these CMP ties because my attack stat is higher. Now in this next example, we are going to use the exact same Azumarill, so exact same IV distribution. And when this happens, when both Pokemon have the exact same attack stat, the CMP is randomized. So this is the next matchup. Look at our CPs. We're both rocking the same Azumarill. We both get to Ice Beam at the same time, but it actually allows me to throw my Ice Beam first. And then she was allowed to throw her Ice Beam second here. So we're going to continue to play this out, and you can see that this is actually going to be randomized. So we're going to get to our Ice Beam at the same time again. Again, just by random happenstance, it allows me to throw my Ice Beam again, but this is randomized. Now she's going to throw her charge move. So you can see that this is a CMP tie because right after I throw my charge move, she throws her charge move. And let's see, in this one, I believe that it lets her go first. Yeah, so we clicked the Ice Beam at the same time, and now this is going to allow her charge move first because, again, the CMP is randomized, and then I'm going to be able to throw my charge move there. So I think that covers it for this beginner's guide. Again, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, so make sure to let me know if you are interested in me making an intermediate and advanced guide for PvP. There's a lot of stuff to cover, but make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. These videos definitely take me a lot longer to make compared to some of my other videos. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to share this with all your friends that are not involved with PvP yet, and let's continue to grow this community. I will see you all in the next video.